Thanks, Peter, and thanks everyone for the opportunity to talk to you about Prescient Therapeutics. We're a biotech company developing novel cancer medicines, and it really puts us in a unique position where instead of a big crowded play, we find ourselves out the front of a very, very big wave with that wave basically to ourselves. And I'll explain what that means in a moment. It's a great opportunity for investors coming in ahead of a trend. So to summarise where we're at now, we're a very well-funded company with about 2 years worth of cash. We just raised some money, so we've got the money to deliver on our milestones. We've got many shots on goal for substantial value creation. As I'll explain in a moment, we've got 2 different drugs in the clinic right now in human clinical studies. Each of them is a potential company maker. And we've got OmniCAR, which is a best-in-class platform in this new emerging field called CAR-T. And that is going to enable us to create next-generation versions of this revolutionary medicine. But also, and more importantly, this is going to enable us to license this out to other people wanting to make third-generation programs for themselves. It's an enabling technology that has the ability to be monetized much sooner than would otherwise be the case in drug development. So that set the scene. There's a number of different parts of the business I'll just talk you through. I don't have time to dive into many of them here. I'm going to focus on the first and the third ones in particular. The targeted therapies are those in the clinic right now. But our business model is very simple. We license from the best and we work with the best. And our assets just happen to be all from the US, where we still have a tremendous amount of buy-in with some of the brightest minds in cancer research and drug development in the world. And that's what we're leveraging. We're leveraging the tens of millions of dollars and years of research that these best minds have invested, and we continue to engage with them and work with the most incredible people. So even though we're a small company, we punch well above our weight. I'm just going to touch on our 2 clinical programs briefly. The first one is called PTX 100. Now, there is a problematic switch in certain cancer cells called RAS. Now, we don't need to know what that is for the purpose of this meeting, but when it's switched on, it is a big problem in cancer, and there still is not any drug that addresses this that is approved. And some companies got a lot of headlines just addressing a very small subset of this problematic protein. And how we're different is that we're able to capture many, many more different types. So even though these other companies are getting massive headlines from their work, we believe we've got a distinct advantage by capturing much more than they can, and that should help patients more. And this study is underway right now. This is licensed from Yale University, but we're conducting the study here in Australia under the leadership of arguably Australia's most renowned and decorated cancer doctor. His name is Professor Miles Prince. He's leading this study. It's in a basket study of different types of cancers, all in the one study. And even though this is a trial that is escalating the dose, what we are already seeing is that the drug seems to be working even at the lowest level. We've got a stable disease and a partial response from patients who have failed between 4 and 7 different therapies. So imagine that for a moment. These are patients so sick that they've tried one drug and it's failed, another drug and it's failed, doing that 4, 6, 5, 7 different times, and they're responding to this drug. It's a really encouraging signal. So what we're also found is that patients are staying on drug for a lot longer than we thought, which is an encouraging sign. So this is underway at the moment. We're now in the 3rd cohort, and this is due to read out, finish enrollment this year and should read out early next year or towards mid next year. So that's just one program. We've also got another drug in the clinic called PTX 200. This is currently in an awful blood cancer called AML, Acute Myeloid Leukemia, and in a setting where it is typical for patients to be dying within 4 to 6 months of diagnosis. We have had, out of 15 patients enrolled so far, we've had 3 complete responses. So that is patients who have had eradication of their disease and have gone on to bone marrow transplant, which is gold standard. So very, very exciting. And this is also a potential company maker. So what I've done, I've just described probably an hour's worth of presentation on 2 drugs that are in the clinic spitting out data right now. We also have a COVID-19 program. The Doherty Institute here in Melbourne, an infectious disease institute, is screening 2 of our assets right now, and these results are expected imminently. They were categorised as Group 1 priority assets, and we've got all the IP filed, applications filed with those, and we will have full ownership of those. So that's another short-term goal that we've got going as well. I just want to talk to you about OmniCAR in the time we have remaining. But first I want to talk to you about CAR-T, which is, it's not an understatement to say it's a genuine turning point in the history of medicine. And as revealed at the most recent big cancer conference where Johnson & Johnson with their drug announced 100% response rate, we have never seen anything approaching this before in the history of medicine. And not only are we part of this, we are part of the next revolution in this. So it's an incredible opportunity for us. Here's basically how it works. Blood is taken from a cancer patient, and these immune cells called T cells, which are the frontline soldiers of the immune system, they are isolated from the blood and they are manipulated outside of the body to put a brand new receptor on them. Now, this receptor enables them to recognize cancer, whereas the unengineered ones do not. The T cells in your body do not recognize it, and we retrain them to recognize cancer. These are called CAR T cells. Millions of these are grown up and they're given back to the patient. So the patient is getting a turbocharged version of their own immune cells. And this isn't science fiction. This is a real drug. This was pioneered by University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League uni in the US. Novartis recognized this and licensed this back in 2012. That little bag you see there on the right is approved for certain blood cancers. That sells for $500,000 a shot. So it's even though it's the first generation, it is a very real industry. It's one of a small number that are already on the market, and it's only growing. It's already $1 billion industry and growing, thanks to you, Penn. But like any new technology, the first generation is the worst, and that's great news for patients. And we're about solving some of these problems: safety, control, knowing where to direct these T cells. We are providing solutions for these with our brand new platform. And this was developed also at the University of Pennsylvania. The same people who know CAR-T best came up with this solution to address these problems in the fastest growing field of medicine. And it is adaptable not just for us, but for any other third-party approach. We can enhance that as well. Here's how it works. It's basically a modular CAR-T. So you've got the T cell with basically one half of the construct and a bit of Velcro sticking out of it. Then you've got the nose part of the CAR-T, if you like. This is the part that can sniff out and bind the cancer. You give that separately. And inside the patient, the 2 bits of Velcro stick, and this forms an armed CAR-T, which is now capable of all sorts of control and all the benefits that I'll go into in a moment. But if you remember nothing more, remember this slide. A conventional CAR-T, if they're soldiers in the immune system fighting cancer, it's a good soldier, but it's only got one map, one weapon. It can only hit one target. You can't redirect them. And most disturbingly, you can't communicate with them. So that's current CAR-T, as wonderful as it is, as much of $1 billion industry it is. Here is what we're doing with OmniCAR. It's also a soldier fighting cancer in the immune system, but you can give it any weapon, including several at once. You can give it any map for multiple deployments. You can direct them against any target, including several at once. Most importantly, you can communicate with them in the field, and you can even send images back in real time. So I think this visual will give you a good idea that as amazing as CAR-T is, we're taking it to the next level. And it enables to do several things. At the moment, there's no way of controlling the dose. You have to guess the Goldilocks amount, and you get what you get. But with OmniCAR, you're able to fine-tune the dose, which is the control doctors want. They want to give a dose that is going to work, but not so high that it's toxic. And that's very important in CAR-T when you're injecting a living cell that you've got no control of. With this is giving doctors control for the first time. And if doctors even want to switch it off, at the moment, they can't do that with CAR-T. With this, they can. They can switch it off and switch it on again. A key chink in the armor of CAR-T is what happens if the tumor mutates. All of a sudden, this fantastic new cell you've injected has lost its nose again. It can't sniff out the cancer. With this, with the same cell product, you just switch out the binder and you can give it a new nose. It can chase down that cancer and prevent this cancer from escaping, which is something the field is really grappling with at the moment. More than that, though, is the ability to target many things at once. And this is going to be super important in solid cancers. The people in this industry get this. When I show them these slides, they just nod and think, wow, this is what we're trying to do. And amongst the rich body of evidence we've got in our preclinical package, this is just showing that this is in mice with ovarian cancer. Basically, this is showing that we're harnessing the unparalleled cancer-killing properties of a T cell, but you're giving it the control and the predictability of a drug for the first time. So this is quite revolutionary. So yeah, with OmniCAR, we think this is just the start. Current CAR T using the patient's own cells, which is autologous, and it's only in certain cancers, and that's fine. But with OmniCAR, we're going to enhance these current generation CAR Ts, but more significantly, we're going to bring this to many, many other areas that CAR T currently isn't in. This includes other blood cancers, solid cancers, which CAR T is not yet approved in and is like the holy grail of CAR T. We're going to be very, very instrumental in that, giving it to different cell types, including off-the-shelf cells. And there's other things, new binders, safer CAR Ts to bring it to more indications, addressing all of these escape issues, overcoming exhaustion, etc., etc. There's no shortage of applications for us here that we can target thanks to OmniCAR. So what do you do with a business model what's your business model when you've got a platform that can do almost anything? Well, we're at the tail end of doing a strategic review at the moment where we're cherry picking the indications we're going to be doing in-house. But more meaningfully than all of that is that we can light as many fires as possible with other people, and we can be like the Intel chip inside all of their computers in return for licensing and collaboration fees. So we've got the ability to monetize this a lot sooner than would otherwise be possible in drug development. There's been, a flurry of deal activity in CAR T, which is wonderful, but all of this was focused on first generation CAR T. And these are eye-watering numbers. And by the way, I'll say one of the founding guys at Juno, he's on our board because he sees the potential of this. But what we're seeing now is next generation deal activity. And Xiphos is a company bought last year for 665 mil. Similar type of approach to us. We believe OmniCAR is superior in many ways that I don't have time to go into, but it was a similar stage of development. And we feel this is the first of the next generation deal activities that we're well positioned to take advantage of. And so in the next 12 months, we've got a number of milestones with such a deep pipeline, and I'll list them all here. They cross our our targeted therapy programs as well as our cell therapy programs, and of course with the disclaimer that we've got no control of what happens in the Northern Hemisphere. But you can see there's lots and lots and lots of activity. So I'll finish where I began, which is that we've got a very compelling investment case here. Prescient is very well funded to deliver all of these milestones. We've got the people, we've got the funds, we've got the assets, we've got many shots on goal for substantial value creation. We're not a one-trick pony. We've got several shots on goal. We've got 2 drugs at the pointy end in clinical development right now, so they're spitting out real data. Either of these, PTX 100 or 200, has the ability to be a company maker upon success. But really a lot of attention is on OmniCAR, this next generation cell therapy program, this whole platform that is going to enable us not only to generate next generation products for us that are very, very valuable, but create early monetization opportunities for everyone else in CAR T. So that's Prescient. I look forward to welcoming you as a shareholder. Our ASX code is PTX, and look forward to any questions you may have.